The Book of True Life, Teaching 21 of 366. The Master teaches, drink from this source of truth and life to uplift yourselves. Divine Revelations, Mexico, from 1866 to 1950. The Lord says, O disciples, you have forgotten the manner of praying which I taught you during the second era, and I have come to remind you of it. The prayer should be for you something greater and more powerful than repeating the words learned from memory, with which you obtain nothing if you do not have spiritual elevation. Do not become accustomed to praying only with words. Pray with the Spirit. I will also say to you, bless with the prayer. Convey thoughts of light to your brethren. Do not ask anything for yourselves. Remember that he who serves me will always have me watching over him. The seed that you sow with love, you will receive multiplied. Visit and anoint the sick, comfort the prisoner, give peace to the needy, and convey hope to the anguished heart. Men have confused true charity, forgetting one of the most elevated sentiments of the spirit, with the materialism that is manifested in all their actions. I have seen you give some coins to your poor brethren with contempt and even with disgust. And you give coins because within your heart you have nothing to give. If only you would give them with love or with the desire to help, but you give them with pride, with ostentation, humiliating the needy. If you gave them without vanity or repulsion, your miserable coin would partly alleviate the thirst for love of those spirits in full restitution. To those who regard charity that way, and with those imperfect deeds, try to silence the voice of their conscience and pretend to make me believe that they comply with one of my most elevated teachings, I come to say to them, retire to your chamber and communicate with me in your prayer, so that in that communion to which you are not accustomed at the moment, you will feel in your innermost a glow of hope and gratitude toward the Father. And feeling the pain of your fellow men, you will pray for them, even if you only do it for your loved ones, which would already be a step toward spirituality. I still cannot ask from all men self-denial and charity toward the rest, or true love for their fellow men. But from you, I do expect deeds worthy of me and of you, O disciples and beginners, who day by day hear this voice which softens your feelings. If you love, all other benefits will come to you in addition. Love will give you the knowledge to understand the truth which others seek in vain along the rocky roads of science. Allow the Master to guide you in all your actions, words, and thoughts. Be prepared under his pleasing and loving example, and you will manifest the divine love. Thus you will feel nearer to God, for you will be in harmony with him. If you love, you will come to be humble as Jesus was. If you love, you will not need material worship or rituals, because you will carry the light that illuminates your inner temple, before which the waves of all the tempests that would lash at you will be broken, and the darkness of mankind will be destroyed. Do not profane any longer what is divine, for truly I say to you, that the ingratitude that you demonstrate before God is too much. When you perform those external practices which you have inherited from your first brethren, and in which you have become fanaticized. Humanity saw Jesus suffer, and his teachings and testimony are believed by you. Why continue crucifying him in your sculptures? Are the centuries not enough that you must keep on exhibiting him as the victim of your wickedness? Instead of remembering me in the torments and agony of Jesus, why do you not recall my resurrection, full of light and glory? Sometimes, while seeing your idols representing me in the form of Jesus upon the cross, there are some who have thought him to be a man weak, coward, or timid, without realizing that I am spirit, and I came to endure what you call a sacrifice, but which I call an obligation of love, as an example for all mankind. If you meditate in the fact that I was one with the Father, remembering that there were no weapons or forces or torture that would have made me yield, but if as man I suffered, bled and died, it was to give you my sublime example of humility. Men have not understood the greatness of that lesson, and everywhere they raise up the image of the crucified one that represents a disgrace for this humanity, who, without love or respect for the one whom they say they love, continues to crucify and offend him daily, injuring the heart of their brethren, for whom the Master gave his life. Oh, my children of all faiths, do not destroy the most noble sentiments of the Spirit, or try to satisfy it with external practices and worships. Behold, if a mother does not have something material to offer her beloved and small child, she holds him against her heart, blesses him with all her love, smothers him with kisses, gazes at him tenderly, covers him with tears, but never does she try to deceive him with empty acts of love. How can you conceive that I, the Divine Master, approve of you satisfying yourselves with practices lacking all essence, truth, and love, with which you try to deceive your spirit, making it believe that it has been nourished, when in reality, each time it is more ignorant of the truth? Learn to love, to bless, and to forgive one another, to be meek and gentle, righteous and noble, and understand that, by not doing it that way, you will not have in your life even the slightest reflection of the deeds of Christ, your Master. I speak to everyone, and I invite you to destroy the errors that for so many centuries have hindered you in your evolution. Take love as a shield, and seize the truth as a sword, and soon you will find the pathway. Do not fear to be sowers of love, because neither Pilate nor Caiaphas are in the world anymore to judge my disciples. You will encounter small Calvaries along your path, but pass through them, leaving traces of strength, serenity, and faith. Christ gave you his example, but he is and will keep on being the eternal Master, in spirit and in truth. The Spirit of truth and consolation is the same Spirit of God who vibrated in the loving Jesus, who dwelt among men, and will also vibrate within you when you learn to love just as he taught you. You who are my new disciples, listen. Since the second era I have spoken to you very clearly about myself, so that you would avoid falling into temptation and errors. When I said, "The Father and I are one," with it I meant to say that in my love for you, in my word, and in each one of my deeds, you have the presence of the Father. Nevertheless, the religions which were later established and were based on that teaching have fallen into materialism, making figures in which they represent the form of Jesus and worship him through them, forgetting that Christ is essence and spirit. If I had wished you to worship me in the figure of Jesus, I would have left his body so that you would venerate it. But if I made that body disappear once its mission was fulfilled, why do men worship it? I reveal to you that my kingdom is not material, but in spite of it, men still want to retain me on earth, and they present to me the riches and the power of a kingdom which is temporary and limited. There were two natures in Jesus, one material, human, created by my will in the virginal bosom of Mary, which I named the Son of Man, and the other divine, the Spirit, who was named the Son of God. And this was the divine word of the Father, who spoke in Jesus. The other was only material and visible. When I was questioned by the Pontiff Caiaphas, saying to me, "I adjure you by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of God," I answered him, "You have said so." To my apostles I had announced that I would return to the Father, from whence I came. I referred then to the divine Spirit that manifested itself in the blessed body of Jesus. But when I prophesied to my disciples that the Son of Man would be delivered and crucified, I referred only to the material part. It would not be possible to crucify the Spirit or destroy it, because it is immortal and is above everything created. If I said that I would write my law in your heart, that I would engrave it in your spirit, and would reign within you, I referred to my wisdom, to my eternal essence. You must understand that it is not Jesus who penetrates your heart, but Christ, the eternal Word, the one who, through the mouth of the prophet Isaiah, was announced as the sacrificed lamb. In the material, Jesus was your ideal and a realization of perfection, so that in him you would have an example worthy of imitating. I wanted to teach you what man has to be in order to be like his God. God is one, and Christ one with him, although he is the Word of the divinity, the only path by which you will reach the Father of everything created. My seed is sown in each spirit of mankind, and the day will come when you will elevate yourselves until you are alike to your Master. The Spirit of Truth is the divine wisdom, who has come to clarify all mysteries and has reached all men, in accordance with my promise made to mankind. You are living the era in which these manifestations should be realized, because you are spiritually prepared to receive them. Behold, the ills that today trouble humanity originate from their lack of compliance to my law, and because of having given a material interpretation to the teachings and divine revelations. With these errors, how could they be aware of their spiritual nature and their divine ties which bind all humanity to their Creator? From there comes your egotism, your wars, and your fondness for material pleasures. The Spirit of God is like an infinite tree in which the branches are the mansions and the leaves are the beings. If the sap is the same that runs through the trunk to all branches, and from these to the leaves, do you not believe that there is something eternal and holy that unites you among yourselves and binds you to the Creator? Brief is your passage through the world, but it is necessary that you fulfill your mission before departing from this existence, in order for you to inhabit more elevated mansions for the spirit in the hereafter. Spirit and body are two distinct natures from which your being is formed, and above both is the conscience. The first is the daughter of the light. The second proceeds from the earth. It is matter. Both are in unity within one being, and they struggle between themselves, guided by the conscience, in which you have the presence of God. This struggle up to now has been constant, but in the end, spirit and body will fulfill in harmony the mission that my law indicates to each one. You may also picture the spirit as if it were a plant, and the body as the earth. The spirit, which has been planted in the body, grows. It elevates itself, being sustained by the ordeals and teachings which it receives throughout its human existence. I have come to teach you how you can know your spirit profoundly, for that immense wave of materialism which has been advancing over humanity has to create immense spiritual needs, and it is necessary that in the world there should exist a fountain of light, where those who are parched can relieve their thirst. How many dreadful wars await mankind, much more terrifying than those that have taken place, in which the fury of the unleashed elements will be mistaken for the thunder of your weapons. The world will be small to contain in its bosom so much destruction. The consequence from all this is that men, after having reached the maximum of their pain and their desperation, will direct their supplications to the true God, the one whom they would not reach through the pathway of love, to ask him for his divine peace. Then I, the Christ, the Word, will resurrect within the hearts, because that time will be the third day, in which I will fulfill my promise of salvation, to construct the temple as I promised you. My divine spirit will descend like the angel who alighted over the tomb of Jesus, to lift the tombstone which closes your heart, so that my light can illuminate that which is most intimate in the human being. This will be the spiritual dawn, of which you will be witnesses. But my seed and the good news will be propagated, because the time of struggle is near, and it is necessary for my children to be prepared. But remember that from now on there will be no doubts in this struggle. It will be carried to the end, in which the light will prevail over the darkness of mankind. Be attentive, O disciples, so that you, to whom I have explained so many mysteries, will not lose the keys which I have entrusted to you, to open the book of my wisdom. Feel the peace in order to make it be felt around you. Only with a calm and clean elevation of your spirit will you become the sowers of spirituality. In the midst of all the changes of your earthly life, many miracles can be performed by you, if you truly treasure within your spirit the gift of peace that my love offers. On the other hand, if you do not bear it with you, you will perform very few deeds worthy of me. Receive my teaching without any worries, with gentleness. Contemplate me with the sensitivity of your feelings, and sense me with tenderness, like children sense the love of their mother. Only thus will you be in a condition to receive and benefit from the torrent of light which overflows from my teachings. Learn to penetrate the atmosphere of intimate peace that these moments offer you, in which you remain with me, and forget your pains and problems, so that you may be strengthened in my love. Be strong, so that you may withstand the trials, and pray for mankind who is disturbed and suffers as you do. And in truth, I say to you, that when you feel my peace at hand, you will perceive that peace has descended over all. You ask me why many times, in order to receive a grace from me, first you have to weep because of some trial. And I say to you that each one of you is like a tree. Sometimes you have branches so affected and dry that pruning is necessary in order to produce good fruits, and those cuts must cause you pain. Sometimes that pruning reaches to the very roots in order to destroy the ills which have contaminated your spirit. At times you weep, but do not despair, for after the pain, true health will come. When I separate you from the unrighteous path, I do it with great charity and love, although at the moment you do not understand my perfect designs. I rule over the sickness in you, and I transform it into health and joy. It is thus that I draw the materialist, the confused and the lost onto the righteous path. When they crucified Jesus, he lovingly forgave his executioners and gave them life, asking the Father for their salvation. With his words and his silence, he also forgave them, and those proofs of infinite love for mankind were and always will be like inexhaustible springs of water, in which men will be inspired toward their most noble acts of forgiveness and love. Today, like yesterday, I have come to offer you a drink from that fountain of truth and life, to lift you from your falls and to illuminate your path, so that you can bear the ordeals in your journey through this world, and that will serve as a step to ascend toward the mansion where you will know supreme peace. You have nothing to fear from your Creator, but from yourselves, yes, when your spirit is not within the path marked by my law. Seek the path that Jesus laid out, so that you can put aside that cup of bitterness. If you lose yourselves, or voluntarily delay your arrival at the kingdom of peace, it will be because you wanted it that way, but not because it is my will. Allow me to guide you, so that, supported by me, you will interpret the teachings which the Book of Life offers, and understand something of the future that awaits mankind. Do not fear kings or lords, or anyone who displays any title or power, because nothing will oppose what is decreed by the Father. I have manifested my light, translating it into words, which some of you have heard, and which everyone will know about through writings and testimonies. I have said to you that I am the great warrior, whose sword has come ready for battle, but keep in mind that I have not come to provoke wars between men, like the ones which you always have. Mine is a war of ideas, of convictions, in which flows truth, love, reason, justice, and true wisdom. But when the struggle becomes more intense, and man begins to realize that these messages are divine inspirations, illuminations of the love of God, that only seeks peace among mankind, he will then feel an impulse to put them into practice, to teach them to all who do not know them, and then he will take my doctrine to exterminate evil which has caused your disobedience. I will pour my inspiration upon all that you learn and analyze from the word that is written, so that you may amplify the teaching that you give to your fellow men. When, among men, there begin to emerge those who, impassible to injury, love and forgive the one who has offended them, and with love bless God, because with their perfect lessons they were converted into living examples of Jesus. Then we will be living in the beginning of the reign of Christ in the heart of mankind. My peace be with you.